Welcome back to another week's edition of Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio right here on AM 920. My name is Cleve Gaddis, and on this show our mission is really simple. It's to help you go from real estate novice to expert. Our goal is for buying and selling a home to be done by you or someone you know with total confidence and without all the fear and the confusion and the second guessing that often comes with life's biggest investments. And it's not just about real estate. It's about making smarter decisions for you, your family, and your future. If you've got a question, a comment, or even a challenge, we want to hear from you. And it's easy to reach us. Go to gogaddisradio.com. That's GOGADDIS radio.com. While you're there, you can ask questions, you can push back or challenge things we say, you can share your ideas with us, you can ask us to do some research on your neighborhood to help you understand as a homeowner in the neighborhood if you have a particular advantage when it comes to selling, and you can subscribe to our podcast and to our YouTube channel so you will never miss a single episode. In this first segment, we have the Metro Atlanta residential real estate update for the last 7 days. In our Something You Should Know About Atlanta, Atlanta's house is rocking. We're going to talk about the State Farm Arena and the fact that it just cracked Billboard's top 5 locations in the nation. And this past year, a lot of homeowners paused. They were uncertain. They were cautious. They were waiting. Should they have gone ahead and sold their home? We have that and more in this first segment. Let's jump right into the Metro Atlanta residential real estate update for the last 7 days. We're right here at the beginning of a new year. In the last 7 days, we've had 1,333 new listings come on the market. We've had 656 homes go under contract. We've had 1,276 homes closed, and we've had 1,077 homes with a price decrease. Let's talk about how that compares to most weeks of the prior 365 days. We would typically be somewhere between 1,800 and 2,200 new listings every single week. We would be in the 1,400 or 1,500, sometimes up to 2,000 or 2,200 homes going under contract. We would have closer to 2,000 closings on a typical week, a little under 2,000, but closer to 2,000 than 1,000. And we would have in some weeks 3,000 or more homes with a price decrease. So there is no doubt that all of that market activity starts to slow down during the holiday season. I did have a listener the other day ask me a question, and it was very simple. And it's been a while since I've actually thought about this, but they said, obviously the holiday season is not a good time to sell a home. And I said, I don't know that I agree with that. I think that, there are some sellers who probably would be better off not selling their home just because everything needs to be perfect during the holidays. They have so much family, all of that that can be happening. I think that does make sense sometimes not to sell. But I want you to think about this for just a second. If you have a home that is in above average condition, if you have a home that is priced correctly, not cheaply, correctly, and you have buyers out there looking for homes, and let's just say they come 2 days before Christmas or 2 days before Thanksgiving or in between Christmas and New Year's, one of the things that I can, without making too big of an assumption, one of the things that I believe I know about that buyer is they are serious. Because when you think about it, why on earth would you go out looking at homes over the holidays unless you didn't have to? So there's a lot of buyers, home buyers that come to Atlanta being relocated by their company. And sometimes they don't start looking till, November or December, and they need to be here in their new home February the 1st. So sometimes people are very, very motivated. So the holiday season is certainly a weaker season. There's less transactions flowing through the system. There are less listings on the market. There are less buyers out there than there would be other times of the year, especially in the late spring and early summer, which is when most of the buyers rush out there between the school seasons. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense to list your home and try to sell it around the holidays. In fact, I did some research a few years ago. I wanted to know what percentage of the closings for the year took place in each and every month. January and February were the lowest number of closings as a percentage of the entire year. If you think about it, if you had equal amount of closings for 12 months, you'd have 8.33% of the closings that happen every single month. In April, May, June, that number was probably closer to 10%. In January, February, March, it was significantly less. But in December, We had 8.3% of the closings for the year. So it had 1/12 of the closings. Now, I'm not saying this December is that exact way, but I'm just saying that's the way it was in the past. So thinking of selling, by the way, in 2026, I think you should go ahead and jump into the pool. And I'm not saying you need to go ahead and list your home today, but I am saying if you're thinking of selling your home anytime in 2026, I encourage you to go to Gaddis Radio, click on the upside, put in just a little information about your house, and we will make sure that you understand what is the upside for you and your specific situation. There are four distinctively different ways to sell a home in today's market. Maybe you need to sell for cash and hit the road quickly. Maybe you need to make some improvements to your home so you can maximize your sales price, and maybe you need to buy your new home before you sell your existing home. Any of those things we can take care of for you. If you're planning to list in the spring and the summer, don't wait until March or April to get started. Go ahead and give us a call in the month of January, and let's have a discussion about your situation. There's no cost, there's no obligation whatsoever. Go to Gaddis Radio, click on the upside, and we will make sure you know what the upside is for you. In our Here's Something You Should Know About Metro Atlanta segment, when it comes to live entertainment, Atlanta State Farm Arena is top tier. It is top 5 nationwide, and I did not know that. It has been forever since I've been into the State Farm Arena, which was at one time called the Omni. I don't know how many of you remember when the Hawks used to play at the Omni before they tore it down and built the new arena. But State Farm Arena has been ranked top 10 venue both domestically and worldwide in Billboard's The Year in Touring 2025 report. State Farm Arena, the home of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks, ranked 5th in the U.S. and 7th in the world in the top venues category, which includes non-stadium venues with 15,001 or more capacity. Only one NBA venue, Madison Square Garden, ranked ahead of State Farm in terms of total number of events. This ranking marks the 3rd year in a row the venue has been ranked in the global top 10. This is an incredible accomplishment for us to be recognized among the best in Billboard's end-of-the-year ranking, says State Farm Arena's Executive Vice President of Programming, Trey Faisal. I believe you say that. I believe is how you pronounce that. He also said, "We are proud to make our arena a global destination for the biggest acts and the biggest moments." The arena hosted 94 ticketed non-Hawks events in 2025, including shows by superstars like Paul McCartney, Dua Lipa, Pearl Jam, Usher, Lil Wayne, Shakira, and Tate McRae. The recognition continues to show that our organization strives to bring the very single best every single day. Again, the executive vice president says, every show we host, every relationship we build, and every challenge we navigate brings us closer to our goal of being the most admired arena in sports and entertainment. In 2026, the arena will host award-winning artists like Ariana Grande, Cardi B, Lady Gaga, Megan Maroney, and more. To learn more about other concerts and events at State Farm Arena, visit statefarmarena.com/events. statefarmarena.com/events. This segment of the show is brought to you by the law firm of O'Kelly and Sorahan. O'Kelly and Sorahan has 30 offices throughout Metro Atlanta. They specialize in residential real estate closings, including home purchases, refinance closings, corporate relocation, and real estate contract review and title insurance matters. They can be reached by calling 770-497-1880, 770-497-1880. As you know, timing can be everything, especially when it comes to your home or selling your home or buying a home. For a lot of people, last year was filled with lots of hesitation. I mean, interest rates were high, and the headlines in the news were negative. There was lots of uncertainty. Life certainly got in the way, and now many homeowners are looking back and wondering if they missed their moment. In fact, Jonah in Marietta submitted a question saying he considered selling his home last year but did not, and he wants to know whether or not that was a mistake. And I would say to Jonah, no, I don't think that was a mistake. I think you might have missed part of what is going to be the best opportunity window for getting a good deal on a home. If you were thinking of selling your home and buying a new home, I should say, I'm just assuming that Jonah is actually thinking about doing that, and I'm assuming that Jonah is thinking of staying here locally. And so if your home, Jonah, was in or is in average or better than average condition, and you are willing to price it at market. Now, that does not mean price it cheaply. That just means price it at a price that the average buyer would think would be an attractive price. Then you wouldn't have had any trouble selling. And if you're thinking of buying, I think you might have sold for a little less than you would have a year earlier. You might sell for a little less than you would have or would have if you waited 2 years or 3 years to sell. But my guess is that on the buy side, you would have saved substantially off of what that house will cost 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. Because one of the things that is still totally certain about the U.S. housing market is that we do not have enough housing units. Each and every year, the number of households expands to the tune of 1 million to 1.5 million in the U.S., meaning we have 1 million to 1.5 million more households that need dwelling units every year than we had the year before. And from 2008 to 2012 and beyond, we were building or increasing the number of residential units to the tune of 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. So by some estimates, we're 2 million housing unit shorts. I've seen estimates that say we're up to 5 million housing unit short. So my advice for you, Jonah, is you need to sell and buy whenever it makes the most sense for you. But do not wait to try to time the market, because I don't think that you'll like how that works out for you. In the next segment, we're going to answer questions buyers and homeowners should be asking right now, especially if you're thinking about buying or refinancing or selling or restructuring a loan anytime in the next 12 to 24 months. Stick with us.